Hello, welcome to another installment of Dave Loney V8. I obviously am not Dave Loney, but don't worry, I know how things work around here. So let's get this episode rolling. So who am I then? I'm John Eastburn. I am the owner of the 62 Bel Air you see behind me here, which is the subject of one of Dave's short videos, the ride along in the 62 Bel Air. It's, as of this recording, it's close to 300,000 views, and I'm just blown away by that. Truly humbled. I didn't think anyone outside of myself would be that interested in it, but it seems to have sparked something with people. So I talked to Dave a few days ago about making a short video to talk about maybe some details of the car, answer some questions that people have asked in the comments section. So we're going to do that. So we're going to take a short tour around the car, and I'll show you some of its details and finer points. All right, let's take a look at this thing. Starting up front, got a fiberglass hood, the Pontiac Super Duty style scoop. Car is all steel except for the hood. I went with the hood for two reasons. One, it's a 70-pound weight savings, so that was kind of hard to argue with. And I wanted the increased access to the engine that came with the liftoff hood. So I did make that one concession in the all steel game. Other than that, everything else, steel. The windows, glass, all real glass, everything in place. Windows roll up, roll down like they should. Inside, pretty bare bones because race car. Got a long inline 4-speed shifter here. For those who don't know, the little lever off to the side is for reverse. Other than that, try to keep it a little bit vintage looking. Got the old school Autometer tack. Got a couple old Stuart Warners slung underneath the dashboard there. The metal flake steering wheel because, come on, gotta have that. And then the shift light kind of tucked up here out of the way. There's only so old school I can make that look. Got a full chrome ollie cage in here. Very nicely done by Kerry Vanderbeck over at Vanderbeck Race Cars. I cannot say enough good about Kerry or the work he does. So if you need some sort of chassis work, fab work, roll cage work, any of that kind of stuff, look for Vanderbeck Race Cars. Great guy, great work. Now let's get to the reason we're all actually really here. Let's go look at the engine. All right, so what everyone came to see. Contrary to what some of the folks in the comments section thought, it is a W-headed motor. I will own up to that it is not 409 cubic inches anymore, and it is not an iron block anymore, even though it was for much of the car's existence with me. I ran the iron block, probably deep into the 11s, but at some point realized that the strength I needed and the cost, that in the long run it'd be cheaper to go with the aluminum block. So that's the way we went. It's a Bill Mitchell performance block, a name well known in racing circles. We got Edelbrock aluminum heads that have been CNC ported. There's T&D shaft rockers under those wind valve covers. Yeah, I like those a lot. I've seen two sets of those valve covers in my life, and I own both of them. Anyway, custom headers, 2-inch to 2 1/8, made locally here by Jim Coughlin. Another great guy. If you need any of that kind of work, reach out to Jim Coughlin. Sitting on top, I have a Rejewski Walden intake. It's basically a short tunnel ram. If that name Walden sounds familiar, it was made in conjunction with Lamar Walden, big-time 409 racer out of back east, and a local guy here in Portland named Rich Rejewski, who is a pattern and tool maker and a big 409 fan. So kind of cool to have one of these low production intakes on there, and it seems to work pretty good. Sitting on top, a couple Holley HP 750s, at least for now. We'll see what the winter brings. Could be a change up there. Going up front here, we do have a dry sump oil system, hence the pony keg sitting over here and the big belt-driven pump. These cars don't have a lot of room for an oil pan on them. I basically would have to remove the entire front cross member. So that was a solution so that we have enough oil slinging around in there to keep that 540 happy. And then this last year went with a remote water pump. Get rid of a little parasitic drag off the motor. And then looking down deeper, it is a crank trigger setup. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but take my word for it, it is set up with a crank trigger and MSD 7AL. So by now I'm sure a few of you are saying, well, that's not a real 409 Chevy, and technically you are correct. But you know, I never see anyone say that about a small block or big block when they have an aftermarket block, or even a Chrysler Hemi for that matter. So I don't see the big deal there. It only accepts 409 heads and intakes. It's got the weird deck angle of a 409. For all intents and purposes, it's just a beefed up aftermarket 409 block. So if you don't dig it, that's fine, but I'm good with it. All right, underneath we can see the dry sump pump a little better and all the hoses. Crank trigger we were talking about that you couldn't really see from the top side. Fun fact about the dry sump, oil just keeps on coming when you take those hoses off. Every time you think you got it all out, you don't. There's a mess coming. He's working backwards here. Got a QuickTime bell housing, which houses a Bonanfanti 6-finger clutch. Been very happy with that. And then a G-Force G101 clutch assisted 4-speed. Yes, I do use the clutch on the shifts. A quick dab is all it takes. Not the trickiest setup that's out there at the track, but it's been just so reliable, and I don't have any complaints about this. Just race after race, it does what it's supposed to do. Little switch on there is part of my line lock system. It lets the car know it's in first gear, so that way it doesn't hit the two-step when I'm in the burnout box in second gear. Working further back, it is still running this 2-piece drive shaft, albeit much bigger than the stock one. It is still a 2-piece drive shaft. The famous X-frame, which is notoriously the worst thing to try to shove down a drag strip, but we're making it work. And to the back here, sorry about the lighting, but got a 12 bolt in place of the stock rear end, boxed lower control arms, which you can see there. Tubular upper control arms that are adjustable, and the mounts for those are braced to the frame. Once again, sorry that they're kind of hard to see. And you would normally see some Menser shocks right here hanging off at the end, but those are currently going back in for some revalving. So that's pretty much everything under the car here. Oh yes, stock fuel tank with a sump built into it. Seems to have provided good service for me so far, so not in any early hurry to change that. Anywho, that's a trip around the car. Well, that's about it. Thanks for joining me on the look around the car. Thanks to Dave Loney for giving me some space on his channel. Thank you for the nearly 300,000, or it might even be over by the time we post this, views on this car. And if you're in the Oregon, Washington area and have a stick shift car, come on out to Woodburn Drag Strip. Come play with us. We got 2 stick shift classes going out there, so pretty much anything with 3 pedals and a lever can find a place to race. And I tell you, no one is having more fun out there than us in the stick shift lane. So come out and join us. Look forward to seeing you there.